just finished, if I may say, a phenomenal session. I learned a lot and I'm going to see a lot of it. But we're going to go back to that subject and probably, I want to get a sense of, we have seen that a lot that physical copies for musicians, like physical CDs and stuff, have taken a back seat now, and it's all about digital download. Someone's torrenting, someone's on iTunes, someone's on Bandcamp. So how has that really affected the independent music scene? Good or bad or what?
So from my perspective, and I speak only for the metal scene, it's probably become the other way around. Because when I started, the idea of buying a CD was more unlikely because kids had no clue about piracy, what it did for the musicians, nothing like that. And it was all of us musicians who actually spoke out and sort of broke it down for them, saying, look, this is what happens when you download stuff. That's kind of what got all the kids to start buying stuff actually. So now our problem is not that they're not buying, is that they've just got too many things to buy. More than the actual act of buying a CD, because we've got a label now that signs many bands. We've got more bands releasing CDs. So a good example is back in 2010, ER was the only band that released a CD along with maybe four or five other bands tops. This year alone there will be 20 to 25 albums out in the metal scene.
In the Indian metal scene, and the audience
has not grown the same way the number of bands have. So if we had 2,000 people listening to this music 5 years ago, we have maybe 3,000 now. Whereas if we had 50 bands earlier, we've got 500 bands now. So that is where I am seeing the problem. But again, for the non-metal space, I don't know how that actually translates. I'm sure it has different.
I think, like we were discussing, people are exposed to so much more today, primarily with, I think, with their mobile phones. And like some 6-7 years ago, did you imagine having a phone like this, where you would consume everything you do apart from your food on this?
Yeah.
So I think even for musicians now today, if you want to sell physical records, or if you want to sell even merchandise for that matter, you need to create value for it and position yourself as someone who a fan can look up to. Because you could have the greatest music in the world and your music would move people, but you need to give them a reason to buy your music while they can just click something and go to another song immediately after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that is the scene. And in India, a lot of bands have stopped selling CDs primarily because it's a logistical nightmare. You've got to carry all of that, move from city to city. The amount of effort you put, the returns are hardly. There are no physical stores that stock CDs. Even if you're selling a CD online, you sell it for 250, 300 rupees or whatever. You pay shipping, you do all the effort yourself. There's nobody doing it for you anymore. So that is the number one thing. And of course, there's hardly any sale happening, so people are very demotivated to put out music on CDs.
But do you think that also has something to do with, like, I remember back in 2009, 2010, we were speaking about this earlier as well. You had a lot of festivals, you had an IROC, you had a GIR, you had all of these happening, but now you barely have any.
That stems from a very simple solution. I think Sai also mentioned a part of it earlier. It has to start at a grassroots level. If you want change, if you want people to stop littering, you start teaching the kids today to stop littering. Same thing with music. When we were in college, that culture of borrowing cassettes, that culture of borrowing CDs, like when I was in college, torrents already made it big. Like it was post-LimeWire. So we would sit with hard drives and exchange music.
Yeah.
What that did is you're looking up to someone who you trust his musical taste of, you know. So whatever he gives you, you're like, this must be the shit. I must listen to it. Today, if you look any direction, there's shit thrown at you brutally. Like no one looks left or right, they just throw shit at you for you to consume. Whether you buy into it is your choice, but it's always thrown at you.
Right.
The only way good music will ever make it out is if kids today are exposed to it. There's no other way. And now, for example, what are kids today on Snapchat? What do you see on Snapchat? Absolute garbage. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So, for example, now if me and Sahil say like in college together, and we like listening to heavy metal, Heavy metal. What would we do when we would go to college? We do heavy metal gigs.
True.
Now, if you are in school right now listening to, I don't know,
JB Brown.
David Guetta, what do you want when you go to college when you start drinking?
You want exactly.
Similar shitty music. So it's as simple as that.
But then do you think that also has to be like sticking to metal for a while? Because I think that's probably one of the most affected genres that is around at the moment. While there is a lot of exposure, you do have a lot of YouTube, you do have a lot of bands, and frankly, you have so many bands, like Sahil just mentioned. If you had like 500 bands 5 years ago, you've got over 2,000 bands now. But a lot of them sound exactly the same. And I think that also has to do with a lot of exposure that's there online.
No, that's what I said. You have to create brand value for yourself. If you sound like somebody else, you're gone. If you look like somebody else, you're a model. If that guy is cheaper, they'll pick that guy. That's how the economy is. Like you have a Swift and you have a Swift Desire. The Swift Desire gives you boot space for like 60,000 rupees extra.
Yeah.
What will the common man think? Like, dude, I can shove in like 6 bags and get my family in the backseat. Why would I go for a car that looks better?
And also I think it's true world over. I mean, you're just looking at India right now because there's this explosion of bands. But if you go to the UK, at every given point that there was a trend shift, there would be a gazillion bands playing that same style, and those bands eventually fade out and die, or they continue to struggle and live in the bottom cesspool of the music scene there. And that's going to happen in India. Most of these bands are going to last through their college years, and the ones that are really good and have kind of created something for themselves, they will survive. It's just as simple as that.
But on the contrary, you also had a lot of, going back to worldwide, you also had a lot of international bands, well-established bands. Say a Chimera, for example. I think that's one of the examples that I can give you that just disappeared and decided to disband at some point.
Because there's
And
no money.
even then,
Personal
there
reasons also.
Yeah,
The thing is, you could be 40 years old, your crowd is still going to be the same age. Majority of it at least. You also need to evolve, as a musician or as a band or as a brand or as whatever you're doing.
yeah, and
You need to connect with the kind of audience that wants to actively listen and discover new music.
True.
If you don't catch up, you're pretty much fucked.
and even being in a band outside India is a very different ball game. People don't realize that here. When you're in a band there, you're on the road. You're not living at home and going to social on the weekend to play with your band and come back to a day job or something. You're literally in a van living for 3, 4, 5, 6 months with 12 t-shirts which you have to wash as and when you get time, living with the same 5 guys in your crew, taking a crap at the venue because you can't take a shit in the nightliner, and that's actually going to wear and tear you down. So that is the reason also bands break up, people quit, because they're like, I want to start a family and spend time with that family. You don't want to be on the road 6 months of your life every year, struggling, loading your equipment, playing a show, and you get burnt out. That is what happens. So we in India have never had that perspective.
You add people, scratches, and there you go.
It's all marketing, bro. It's all how you position yourself, seriously. You look at the big DJs,
Yeah.
what is the only differentiating factor among each of them? It's usually the car that they drive, that's about it. They dress the same, they play similar music, they usually have the same producer, same record label, same marketing company, same booking agent. It's all the same, it's just how they market themselves. That's the only difference. Like, if you make music, you can make that sort of music in a day.
Right.
Plus you put another $1,000, $2,000, get it mixed. Plus another $5,000, get it mastered by the best person. Fine, then it's a brand you build, right? It's just how you market yourself. Steve Aoki throws cakes, that's his USP. Find a Steve Aoki fan over here and bring them and ask them name 5 Steve Aoki tracks. No, they just know the dude who throws cake. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Today it's such a hyped up market that it's sort of come to a point where you realize that the only way you can succeed is if you hype it up.
Right.
Otherwise, no one's going to pay
I think
you.
the age-old adage is jo dikhta hai wo bikhta hai.
You have to hype it up. Today, there's so much happening, man.
Yeah,
In
it's
every
all
given
about
thing, it's
standing out.
not about just music anymore. Like fine, great music. Some like say your album is doing great on Facebook today. Next thing you know, there's a riot happening in Bangalore and Tamil Nadu, and everyone's talking about that.
Yeah.
Your music is still great. You get what I'm saying?
The visibility obviously.
Yeah,
Focus, visibility, there's a million things to do.
Okay, so
I'll give you an example. The best metal band in the country, I'm not taking names, still has a vault full of CDs lying at home. Still.
That is another reason
Not
for that.
surprised.
That's because they are lazy.
They're not lazy.
They are lazy. This is not their
On the other hand, I have another great metal band that was on record labels and everything. Time is music, I'll say. Fine, I'll just say it.
Yeah.
Great. Still actively playing gigs. Still has a vault of CDs at home. And by gigs, I mean they play college festivals as well. I'm not taking it.
On Times Music, there's no metal band on Times Music.
Not metal, like slightly heavy. Think. Go home and Google it.
Again, it's, if you're sitting with CDs in your cupboard, you either made a bad album or you printed too many CDs.
That's one way to look
You
at it.
overestimated
Yeah.
yourself then. Like I did.
Okay, fine. Sharan Funk was in Blue Flower Records. And Blue Flower Records actively promoted music. Sharan Funk is one of the largest touring bands in the country.
True.
You go to some Blue Flower office, you still find CDs like that. You know what I mean? It's about how much effort also you put in
I
to
think
sell it.
Yeah, like I said, bands when they tour, they have a merch counter at every show. I used to when DR used to play, and still I have a merch counter at every show. I'll stand for 4 hours if I need to sell 4 CDs, but I'll do it.
But how many people now are actually going to go with a physical copy of anything? Merchandise is something that sure a lot of people could go for because maybe a value add-on. But as far as physical copies of CDs is concerned, considering everyone's on an iPod, everyone's
See, a lot of times it's not just about only a CD. You can sell digital downloads at your shows. CDs are somebody who may not even have a CD player may just say, I want to take something back with me. This was a great gig. I had an amazing experience watching your band. I need something. CD is there. I want to support you. I'll take it. It's not just about, oh, I have a CD player. I really thought second song was superb, so I'll try. No, it's about that experience, and that's why the biggest sales are always at gigs because they're experiencing you. Normally, they had a couple of beers also. That definitely helps, you know. So and that's very true. I know so many people who buy CDs even though they may not have a player, but they want to support the band. If they have a T-shirt available, they'll buy the T-shirt.
Yeah, I've got so many CDs I've never known that I've just bought it. I mean, I have it. It's available online if I want to listen to it. I just bought it because I wanted to take
support the
these
band.
songs.
Yeah. So I think we all agree on one thing. I think for bands, first and foremost is still the content. And as far as the marketing, you're
Content and how active you are
how active you
as a
are.
band.
And I
How
think
much you
as far as-
practice in your fucking jam room? That's the problem. They're all sitting on Facebook instead of practicing.
Yeah, but I think they're on Facebook to market themselves as well.
Yeah, but you first practice, then market yourself, and you have the skill. The problem is, you've been playing guitar for 3 months, you got nothing to market. Unless you're some prodigy who's like, you know,
Yeah, that's why I stopped playing guitar.
yeah, you know, that's what I tell bands. Like, it's okay. They want to make a Facebook page for the band before it's even got one song ready.
Or they have a steady
It's
line.
like when you're a DJ, you make a logo before your first set.
Yeah. So just chill out, go practice your instrument, get good, get to some decent level, and then start putting your stuff out and worry about marketing and all.
See, the black t-shirts and black pants are always still there.
Exactly. Alright, great. Thank you so much. Wonderful session. Thanks.